Okay, thank you everybody for being here. I think Leo can kick us off for the night. Leo, are you here?
Would you like me to give directions in Spanish for interpretation for our Spanish speakers?
Sí.
Sí. Buenas tardes, buenas noches a todos. Yo soy Vic, uno de sus intérpretes. Mi cointérprete y colega es Diana. Seremos sus intérpretes esta noche. Tenemos afortunadamente un espacio bilingüe, entonces si desean accesar la función de interpretación, en la parte de abajo de su pantalla, al lado derecho, van a ver un icono de globo terráqueo que dice Interpretation o interpretación. Hagan clic ahí y seleccionen su idioma de preferencia. Si están en un teléfono, un dispositivo móvil o en una tableta, van a ver tres puntitos que dicen More o Más. Hagan clic ahí, seleccionen interpretación de idiomas, seleccionen su idioma de preferencia y tienen que terminar el proceso con Done o Listo. Si tienen cualquier cosa, por favor avísenos. I guess I would just say it in English as well. If you are on a mobile device or a tablet and you would like interpretation, you will see three dots that say More or Más. Click on them and then select language interpretation, then your language of preference, and you have to finish the process by hitting Done or Listo. I think we are ready to go. Creo que estamos listos. If you would like to assign me as an interpreter, please.
All right, are we ready to go? Are you assigned as an interpreter? All right, I see the thumbs up. All right, well, hello everyone. Hopefully you all can hear me. Just a quick mic check before I continue. Yep, all right. So I just want to start off by saying thank you to everyone for being here. I know last year has been a roller coaster and it has been a time of growth. And first off, I want to start off by saying thank you to the staff, the board members, the community, our partners for being with us every step of the way. And I think you all are going to see with this annual report, even though through some transitions, we have been committing and accomplishing our mission and even growing from that as well. And I'm extremely excited for 2023. And see what additional growth we have this year. I know it's going to be a good one, and the staff will share some more information on that. But I'm glad that you all are able to meet us here in this environment, even if it's virtual, to take a look back at last year, talk about what's coming up this year, and we'll just go from there. So thank you all so much for being here. Thank you to the staff, thank you to the board, thank you to the community and our partners, and we'll just kick it off from there. Also, I guess I didn't introduce myself in case some of you all aren't aware. I am Leo Medina, Leonel Medina. I am the board chair for IFCLA starting this year. So, and then I'm also accompanied here by other board members. I'm sure you'll get to meet them here as we roll out our annual meeting. But if you have any questions for me, or if you have anything else that you want to share, please don't hesitate to reach out and we'll chat. Thank you.
Perfect. I think Carly is going to kick us off with some staff and board introductions now.
Hi, I am Carly Garcia. I am operations manager. She, her pronouns. I would like to popcorn it to Amelie.
Okay, my name is Amelie Rode. I'm the communications and development manager here at IFCLA, and my pronouns are she, her. And I will popcorn to Angel.
Hi, everyone. Good to see you all. My name is Angel Flores Fontanes. I am a community organizer for Migrantes Unidos, and I currently coordinate the education program at IFCLA. My pronouns are he, his. I pass it to Alicia.
Hello, everybody. My name is Alicia. I am the accompaniment co-coordinator here at IFCLA, and my pronouns are she, her, and I will popcorn it to Gabby.
Hello, everyone. My name is Gabby. My pronouns are she, her, and I am a community organizer at IFCLA. I will popcorn to Amira.
Hi, everyone. My name is Amira. I use she, her pronouns, and I am a practicum student at IFCLA with the accompaniment, MU, and policy teams. And I will pass the mic to Juan.
Hi. Hey, everybody. My name is Juan Narvaez. I am an accompaniment corps coordinator along with Alicia. Oh, yeah, and my pronouns are he, they. And so I'm the last staff. I'll pass it on to our board member, Ellen. And so she may introduce herself and then we can go to Marissa after that.
Thanks, Juan. I'm Ellen Ziegemeyer. I'm on the board now as the co-convener, and I'm thrilled to be here tonight. And Marisa.
Hi, everyone. My name is Marissa Cohen. I use she, her pronouns. I am on the board of IFCLA in representation of the Immigrant Service Providers Network, which is fiscally sponsored by IFCLA. And I believe that is everyone. Yes, alrighty.
Yes,
Alrighty, I will read over the land acknowledgement as we get started on today's meeting. So we acknowledge that the location from which we participate in this meeting, St. Louis, Missouri, is the traditional lands and occupied territories of the following: the Chickasaw, the Illinois, the Iowa, the Missouri, the Osage, the Oto, the Quapaw, and the existing Northern Cherokee Nation of the Old Louisiana Territory. We pay our respect to them and to their elders, both past and present, recognize the beauty of their culture, solidarize ourselves with their land claims and just demands, and declare that immigrant justice will be incomplete without Indigenous self-determination. For today's meeting, we have the following on our program. We will first start off with an overview of IFCLA's 2022 annual report review, and then we will have Q&A followed by a break. Next, we will have some of the 2023 annual plan exciting updates to come, and talk about what's next and how to get involved and how to take action from each and every one of you. So thank you all for being a part of tonight's annual meeting.
Okay. As Marissa said, thank you all again for being here. And so I just want to start off by telling you a little bit about IFCLA, as well as some of our priorities for this year. So our mission at IFCLA is to accompany the people of Latin America through education and community organizing in the US in their struggles for human rights and for social justice. Over the past 40 years, IFCLA has worked to put a human face on the issues of injustice that impact the Latino immigrant neighbors here in the Midwest. But currently our work has been focused exclusively on low-income Latino immigrants here, the majority who are women and children. And so our efforts are to build relationships amongst allies and directly impacted communities to affect change on things such as US policies and laws. And we really want to prioritize transformational human connection. We want to center immigrant leaders in order to build collective power. And so ultimately, we are contributing to the construction of a future that is rooted in liberation, in justice, and in love. And so our guiding principles at IFCLA are education, community organizing, and accompaniment. which allows us to realize our mission. But also we do justice-driven work that's guided by our values of dignity, solidarity, integrity, intentionality, inclusion, and commitment. So before we go into our programs, I do want to read through 5 of our ongoing priorities that have influenced the work that we have done and that we will continue to do. The first one is that we are building key relationships through Missouri. Second, we are training and equipping a statewide base to bring about meaningful change. Third, we are implementing innovative strategies to abolish practices that both dehumanize and criminalize immigrants. Our fourth priority is that we are growing and improving as an inclusive, anti-racist, and immigrant-led organization. And lastly, we are responding with compassion to the immediate needs of immigrants, community members. So as this annual meeting continues, I hope it's clear the ways in which our programs embody these priorities and that you all, as IFCLA community members, will embrace these priorities as well. And with that, I will pass the mic over to Angel.
Hello, once again. In IFCLA, we believe in the importance of community education, a process in which we all participate as allies and directed impacted community. As part of IFCLA's commitment to education in matters of immigration, in 2022, we held 18 educational events, including workshops for our program Advocacy 101, also for Conociendo la Migra, and we also presented in classrooms and virtual meetings for students and professors of Washington University and St. Louis University. In the past year, we also started a new educational program called IFCLA's Book Club. This program seeks to increase our effectiveness as anti-racist and intersectional activists of immigration rights. The book club happens quarterly and it's open to the whole community. 2 book club series were held in 2022, one for Harsha Walia's Border Imperialism book, and another for Melissa Cardosa's Los 13 Colores de la Resistencia Hondureña, or the 13 Colors of the Honduran Resistance. Each series met 3 to 4 times per month, and we engaged about 230 individuals through these educational events around the year. Thank you to all the people that supported. And now I'll pass it to Juan, who will talk to us about the accompaniment program.
Thanks, Angel. As many of you may know, there's simply not enough legal aid in the region to support the overwhelming demand and need for our communities to complete and send their asylum applications, as well as provide support to the years it takes for the government to process their asylum cases. Since 2019, we have partnered with Micah Project and St. Francis Community Services CLAM to offer accompaniment pro se support for asylum seekers, and have put together or organized over 15 clinic events since 2019 and have assisted over 200 folks. For many, accessing this legal aid and representation is not possible because of the expense. It's very expensive to afford a lawyer, and or there's simply not enough capacity to meet the kind of demand that we need in the region. And as you can see from the slide, in 2022, we've had 4 pro se asylum clinics where we've relied on volunteers, attorneys, law students, and sometimes compas themselves will attend to come together and support our fellow compas to fill out their asylum applications and mailing them off. And in the year 2022, we've helped to send 50 asylum applications. Also in 2022, we assist those that have already submitted their asylum applications 6 months prior. They become eligible for applying for the work permit cards. And we've had 2 work authorization clinic events assisting 20 individuals with those applications. On the other flip side of our accompaniment program is our ISAP accompaniment program. Thank you. Where we assemble a group of dedicated volunteers who support compas in their visit to ICE or ISAP, as well as their biometrics appointments or other appointments as needed with the immigration agencies here in St. Louis. The role of our trained volunteers is to provide an empathetic connection and support system, to witness and be a steward for compas if needed, to provide accountability in the face of what can be very stressful and uncomfortable visits for a lot of folks when they go to any government building. In 2022, volunteers completed 15 accompaniment requests to their ICE and ISEP check-in appointments. We engaged 20 volunteers for this work, conducted 2 trainings for our volunteers, and had 2 meetings with them. Also, in 2022, we were able to provide, oh, yeah, if we can go to the next slide, please, Carly. Also, in 2022, we were able to provide $25,000 in direct cash assistance through a third-party program that was sourced through American Rescue Plan monies funded by or administered by the city of St. Louis. And with that money, we were able to complete and get 50 applications approved that offered $500 direct cash assistance for compas that lived in the city and that were eligible. And next will be Gabby.
Thank you, Juan. Shifting to our organizing work, IFCLA convenes the Missouri Immigration Policy Coalition, which is a group of around 20 organizations across the state that are sparking and building and nurturing movements for transformative change. Throughout 2022, the coalition really had 3 priorities: to expand its reach across the state, to deepen relationships with immigrant communities, and to win legislative changes that are rooted in those things that Amir talked about before: freedom, justice, dignity, love. In terms of expanding our reach, we officially welcomed 2 new members to the coalition, one from Joplin and one from Columbia. In terms of deepening our relationships with immigrant communities, we adopted a new structure we call the support pod structure. And it is a structure where anyone from the community can join coalition calls to strategize around our policy priorities. We recognize that while this is a step forward, it is insufficient, and we still have a long way to go to become a coalition that is truly immigrant-led. In terms of our legislative work, Missouri is one of only 6 states where undocumented students are forced to pay international tuition rates. And this means that undocumented Missourians are forced to pay nearly 3 times the tuition rate of their peers. During the 2022 legislative session, IFCLA hosted several workshops to prepare community members to speak out on this issue. And then in April of last year, we traveled to Jefferson City to demand tuition equity from our legislators. This is a fight that is still happening today. So if you want to get more involved in our tuition equity work, please reach out to me. IFCLA is also organizing around local and federal issues. As you may remember, we hosted a town hall with Cori Bush to talk about the congressional delegation to Honduras and Guatemala. And we are continuing to organize around federal issues, especially with everything that's been happening recently. And so we hope you will join us this year as we continue to fight for our collective liberation. And I will pass it to Emily.
Thank you, Gabby. And hello again, everybody. I am going to walk us through the financial health portion of our 2022 annual report. So compared to 2021, IFCLA saw an increase in revenue in 2022, largely thanks to grant income. We applied for over 20 grants and were funded partially or fully in about 33% of those. At the same time, we did see a decrease in individual and organizational giving. We attribute these decreases in part to the misguided notion that immigrants' rights have been won by the current administration, which we know is not the case. And so moving forward, that's something we will continue to address as we seek to become less grant dependent and more community funded, and because we still have work to do, period. Despite those decreases, we bridged this gap with savings, multi-year grants, and income from fundraising events. And additionally, the generosity of IFCLA's sustainers, or our monthly recurring donors, really supported our growth too. Sustainer revenue in 2022 totaled at over $15,000. So we are incredibly thankful for them, and generally we're thankful for the almost 200 individuals and about 20 organizations who gave to IFCLA in 2022. So claps for them. Thank you for indulging me. Let's see, next slide, please. So that was the income side of things. Before we pause for a break and switch gears, I'll also share a bit about expenses. Our budget continues to support our anti-racist efforts, including staff and board anti-racist trainings through the organization Crossroads. And our expenses also include personnel, including our wonderful accountant, our wonderful consultant, Melanie, Migrantes Unidos members, and of course, our staff. So we anticipate that personnel expenses will only increase moving forward, especially as we continue to improve staff salaries to, one, make our positions more attractive and competitive, two, to ensure our team is cared for, and three, to disrupt the poverty cycle that is unfortunately common within the nonprofit sector. And then of course, expenses also include other programmatic costs like those for pro se clinics, advocacy days, and so on. And finally, as you can see, we have a couple charts breaking down total IFCLA and ISPN income and expenses, which, just in case, ISPN again stands for the Immigrant Service Providers Network. But we've included ISPN in some of these charts because IFCLA is their fiscal sponsor, in case that question came up for you when looking at these charts. So that is all I have to share on financial health. We are going to pause for our first questions and answer session of the night. We'll have time for 3 to 5 questions, and then we'll take a break. So first, do we have any questions on anything we've shared so far, anything looking back at 2022? Or do we have any other comments, concerns, feedbacks, thoughts? And if you do, you can just come off mute and share, because I can't really see people right now with the PowerPoint. Okay, hearing none, I will say we'll have another Q&A period at the end of this meeting. So if you need to think on any questions, that's fine. We'll take a few minutes for a break, but if you have any questions, feel free to come off mute in the meantime.
What time did you say that we were coming back, Emily?
Haha, I didn't. I say 5 minutes. So we will come back at, well, it's 8 o'clock here, 7 o'clock there. It's
7:33. So 7:38.
Yes, thank you. Perfect.
All right. One more minute. Please start your return to your computers or cell phones. We hope that you enjoyed your bathroom or water break. All right. Gabby, are you with us?
I am. I was just gonna say, I think it's my turn.
Perfect. Thank you, everyone. Again, hope that you enjoyed your break. Now, Gabby will introduce us to the second part of our meeting. Thank you. Gabby?
Yes, so we have a lot of exciting things planned for 2023. So I wanted to take a moment and highlight a few of them now, and then other of my teammates at IFCLA will come in with more as the night goes on. So the first highlight is the expert committee. So the expert committee is a new leadership team at IFCLA that is composed of people who are directly impacted by racist immigration policies. And they are developing a plan that IFCLA will follow to become a statewide organization. And not just any statewide organization, but a statewide organization that is inclusive, immigrant-led, and committed to building the power we need to bring about systemic change. The idea for the expert committee came out of the recognition of the need to create a decision-making team at IFCLA that does not have the burden of traditional board responsibilities, given that board membership often excludes low-income individuals, and given the increased risk board reporting might present for people who are undocumented. We recently had our first meeting as a committee, and we are looking forward to what is to come. So if you know anyone that is interested in joining, please reach out to me. We offer an hourly compensation of $20 an hour for everyone on the committee. The next update I wanted to give is that as part of our efforts to expand statewide, we will be building a team of community liaisons in local communities across the state, particularly rural communities. And these community liaisons will work with me to lead and develop organizing initiatives in their communities. These could be educational workshops, they could be events to build community and build relationships, they could be actions, and the community liaisons will also be compensated $20 an hour. And the last update I wanted to share right now is that we will be starting a Congregational Partners Committee in 2023. So this answers your question directly, Karen, and if I don't talk enough on it now, please feel free to ask questions later on. We are planning to meet quarterly as a way to provide both IFCLA and faith groups an opportunity to share the work that they are doing and to identify areas in need of support. Over our 40-year history, we have worked closely with faith communities in the St. Louis area, and the Congregational Partners Committee, or CPC, hopes to continue to grow and strengthen those relationships. And really the last thing I wanted to say is, Angel mentioned earlier that we read 13 Colors of the Honduran Resistance. And there was a sentence in the book that really stuck with me. Melissa Cardoza wrote, "She would find the most beautiful insurrectionary flowers amidst the empire's putrid neoliberal filth." And when I think about what we are building here, the connection, the collaboration, the relationships, I see a lot of beautiful insurrectionary flowers. And so I'm really looking forward to what we can do together in the year ahead. And with that, I will pass it to Juan to talk about some exciting structural changes happening at IFCLA.
Yes, thank you, Gabby. Thank you for giving those updates and continuing on with the sort of excitement that I feel that we've been trying to create for IFCLA. We just want to share a brief statement on sort of the direction that we want to go, and in alignment with our values of shared decision making among the people doing the work, including directly impacted folks, and our value for pay parity. IFCLA is transitioning away from the traditional hierarchical structure of an executive director, of having an executive director, like Gabby said earlier, to be a more equitable organization where staff act as co-directors in a sense, and share decision making along with the groups that impacted folks that that we try to incorporate in our decision-making style, including Migrantes Unidos, expert committee members, and as well as the board. This move is influenced by our ongoing research into horizontal structures and or teal organizations. So what will exactly change for our community? And to answer that question is not much really. This decision allows us to evolve with shifts in the work and within the greater environment. It means that IFCLA's base will have more input in the direction that our organization moves in.
A little bit more on what does this mean for staff. First of all, this means equitable pay for all staff. We all make the same amount of money per hour worked. Second, day-to-day decisions will be made by staff through an advising process as needed, and with an emphasis on peer relationships, with the manager of each area or project making the final decision. Number 3, for larger organizational and programmatic decisions will be made based on a consensus model involving staff, board, and the expert committee, who is more directly attuned with the needs of the community.
And so some of you may be wondering why the shift and why now? We decided to make this shift because we believe that the best organizations are ones that really lean into trust and abundance rather than fear and scarcity. And we also felt it was important to brace this idea that one person does not and cannot possess all the skills, time, and energy that are needed to lead and support this work. And so this is a model that will, as both Juan and Angel said, that will not only share power amongst our team, but also share power amongst our community. And we just ask that as we evolve and learn more, that you all give us grace to make adjustments as we go. We will have time to answer any questions about this transition at the end. And of course, we are happy to meet with you one-on-one at any point, or if you email us to talk more about this. And I think Carly will be sharing the slides again in a second to talk about our upcoming fundraising events.
Thank you, Gabby. As we wrap up and make time for questions, we'll be sharing some upcoming opportunities for further involvement from community and fundraising events.
Something that's not the slides, just in case.
Do what?
The slides are gone and a Word doc is now there.
Oh, awesome. Thanks.
Mhm.
My bad. From community and fundraising events to volunteer opportunities to advocacy actions. So I'm going to start us off with an invitation to you to two upcoming events. We have Give STL Day that is happening May 10th. Give STL Day is a virtual event. Our goal is $5,000. This event is powered by the St. Louis Community Foundation. So please mark your calendars and plan to give early. Early giving starts April 6th. You can also log on to the givesdlday.org website and create a personal fundraiser that you can share on your social media platforms. to invite your friends and family to give to our organization. And then on June 22nd, we will be hosting our 4th annual Loteria night, where we will play Loteria, eat some good food, bid on silent auctions, and have a good time in community together. These fundraising events are crucial to sustaining our programs and ensuring our continued participation as a part of the larger migrant justice movement. We hope you all can join us and plan to attend and invite your family and friends and colleagues too. And if your workplace, congregation, and some other group you're a part of might want to join or become a Loteria event sponsor or contribute to our silent auction, please let us know. From here, I will pass it on to Angel to speak about some MU updates.
Thank you, Carly. Since 2020, IFCLA has had the honor of co-facilitating the group Migrantes Unidos with support team members Dr. Adriano Udani from the University of Missouri in St. Louis, and with Maria Torres Wedding from Colibri Consulting. Migrantes Unidos is a St. Louis-based group of asylum seekers that led their efforts to fight and end all forms of detention and surveillance of immigrants. The weekly gatherings consist of, first of all, peer support, information sharing, leadership training, concept mapping exercises about strategy and actions, and also to celebrate the victories of their movement. Members are financially compensated as intellectuals for their time and effort and for decision-making in this collaboration. During the year 2022, the core team grew to 63 members in total. We have currently members from Honduras, El Salvador, Mexico, Guatemala, and Haiti. They began meeting weekly last year and also holding in-person meetings once a month. As part of the Migrantes Unidos project, which in total takes 3 years in its initial stage, IFCLA is now collaborating also with the creation of additional hubs in the state of Massachusetts, which are trying to replicate the effort that has been done here in St. Louis with Migrantes Unidos. In other words, hubs that are trying to recreate in Massachusetts community collaborations that develop immigrant leadership in their struggle for immigration rights. In the past year, we started meeting with these hubs, co-training the coordinators of these hubs, and the meetings with the impacted community in Massachusetts have started this year in 2023. We invite you all to please stay tuned for upcoming actions that Migrantes Unidos members will engage in this year and will require the participation of all the community. So please keep an eye on these invitations. And now I'll pass it back to Alicia.
Thank you, Angel. So some of the more ways to get involved at IFCLA, we do have some upcoming accompaniment opportunities. So our next accompaniment training for new volunteers who have not had a training yet or are interested in joining just to learn more about the accompaniment program, what it is, and to see if they'll be interested to be volunteers for this program. This will be happening on April 6th from 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. And we would love to see new people there who are interested, like I said, for immigration justice as well. Everybody is welcome. And now I will pass it on to Juan, who will be talking about some more programmatic steps.
Yes, thanks, Alicia. And so I, along with Alicia, I do the other half of the accompaniment program. Work mostly primarily on pro se clinics. So nothing much has changed in that aspect. That is that's just it's going as usual. We plan on having 4 per year, at least 4 per year, and so that's something that is a definite need in our community, as we see over and over compas without legal representation. And so this is a vital program that for IFCLA, and one of the main reasons why I think we do our work, so that we can continue this program and completing their asylum applications, and also giving education and providing support for folks throughout their asylum case. And so the next one will be June 3rd. It's going to be an all-day event from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. We always need volunteers to provide any type of support, either tech, interpretation. If you're an attorney, we would need your expertise. And also, while we don't have one set in the books yet, I did want to mention that we are continuing our work authorization clinics, assisting folks with us applying for their work permits. And we'll have information about that very soon. So yes.
I think it's me next. So a little bit of a policy update and action to take. So the Missouri House just passed a higher education budget bill that includes language barring undocumented students from paying in-state tuition. This is the issue of tuition equity that I talked about earlier. The Senate Budget Committee will soon be deciding on what language to include in their version of the higher education budget. And so now is really the time to take action, and we must make sure that the Senate Budget Committee does not add the exclusionary language to their budget bill. To take action, you can sign on to the petition that's linked here. There's a bit.ly in the slide. Thank you, Carly, for dropping that in the chat. We will also send a follow-up email with it linked in there. And that's just a way for you to get more involved in this work, and we will follow up with you on other actions you can take before legislative session ends in May. And with that, I think we are nearing the end of our annual meeting. We do have time for questions, so feel free to unmute and ask your question out loud, or if you do not want to talk, you can drop your question in the chat.
Gabby, there was a question that Karen asked. I'll just go ahead and answer. She asked, how do migrants sign up for the clinics? So if they're seeking asylum, what happens is that generally the process is that they must call one of our legal aid partners, either Micah Project or St. Francis Community Services, CLAM, also known as CLAM. And they first need to get a consult or an assessment done by a lawyer's office. And so that's where our partners come in. And from there, our Micah Project and St. Francis, they'll start creating a list and sort of an invite list of those who they do not take on as clients in their office, but then refer to us so that they can start the pro se process through our organization, where we can provide some support and guidance, not legal representation. We have to make that distinction very clear. But yes, I hope that answered your question, Karen.
Any other questions? Again, feel free to unmute or drop them in the chat.
Angel, you talked a little bit about, I think it was the partnership with Minnesota.
Oh, Massachusetts?
Massachusetts, sorry, wrong M state. Could you talk a little bit more about how that partnership was developed and how y'all found each other? And then how y'all are working together?
Sure. Apologies because some minutia elements I will miss just for not having the papers here. So as I explained, since the Migrantes Unidos program started in November 2020, the whole idea was that throughout the initial stage, we would gather asylum seekers, help them develop their leadership, and eventually hoping that everything went well, that they would, become leaders in their own struggle for equality. But as part of that process as well, there were several steps that we wanted to take. One was publish a study that included a book, and another to help other people in the Midwest to do the same, right? Because this is not just a thing that St. Louis needs. Well, it turned out that when we made a public call to different organizations in the Midwest, the people that actually responded came from Massachusetts. We had 3 organizations that wrote us emails. Hey, we are in need of this project, and we are very interested in trying to replicate something similar, right? Because the reality is different, therefore it cannot be the same, but at least replicate something similar. So for about a year now, we have been meeting with these organizations and trying to build hubs with them. A hub consists in a collaboration between organizations. For example, in Migrantes Unidos, IFCLA is the grassroots organization that gathers the immigrants. Adriano Udani is the professional, intellectual, political science professor that provides help from that perspective and also makes public our findings. And then Maria Torres Wedding is another organizer and consultant for community organizing that works. So basically what these 3 hubs in Massachusetts are doing are gathering intellectuals and community organizers from grassroots communities to precisely, again, gather community impact members, develop a relationship, and establish a group and leadership by them. I'm leading a lot of details behind, including numbers, the names, the exact names of these organizations. I apologize with that. I can provide that to you. But this has been ongoing at least now for a year already, and they are in the stages right now as we speak of having their first meetings with asylum seekers within their community. Did I answer your question well?
Yes, you did. Thank you. That's awesome.
If you want more details, please feel free to write an email or a message and I will give you more details.
Thank you, Angel. Any other questions? I wanted to make space for things that aren't questions, for any reactions or thoughts. I know we have a lot of exciting changes, but changes can be difficult. So if anybody has, whatever thoughts or feelings are coming up around our structural changes away from a hierarchical model to a structure that's informed by teal organizations and horizontal organizations, you can feel free again to talk out loud or drop it in the chat.
I'm a little confused about the decision-making process. You said consensus should be made with expert committee, staff, and board? How do you process that?
It's a great question. So I think we see two types of decision. Well, there's many types of decisions, but we have categorized like day-to-day decisions and then more decisions that change the direction of IFCLA. And so for those day-to-day decisions, we will be each operating as co-directors. And so if it is a decision that affects our area of work, we have a process where we are allowed to make those decisions for our own department, but also we have teammates who will hold us accountable and also who we can consult with if we needed on those decisions. For decisions that will change the direction of IFCLA, those are the decisions that we will consult with the board and the expert committee. And so what that process will look like is we will come to a consensus as a staff. And if we can come to a consensus as a staff, then we will bring those ideas to the expert committee and then the board to also come to a consensus on those decisions. Or the other way around, if the expert committee has a change that they would like to see at IFCLA, that will be brought to the staff and then to the board. Anyone else from my team can jump in. Yes, I see you, Juan, you want to add?
Yeah, no, I definitely want to add. And honestly, and I'm not sure who asked that question, but it's obviously something that we're still working on ourselves and defining ourselves. I think from January and from that trend, from sort of reeling from what happened, and we are definitely correcting ourselves as we go. And with the consensus model, I think we're looking into several sort of methods on how we exactly reach consensus, Aya. And that could be like, we talked about a 5 sort of method or a voting method where like Gabby said, I mean, day-to-day activities kind of keep on going as normal, but a more strategic and operational and other so important decisions like that, we definitely decide as a group. I mean, communication is key on all of those decisions, and also like advice that we give each other. And Rich is really telling because, I mean, this is how IFCLA has been operating for the past, I don't know how long, for the past 8 months or so. And so it's a lot based on just trust and relationships that we grow with each other, and how we really collaborate with each other. So I wish we had a really nice visual for you to see, or sort of map on how the decisions are made. We did make a grid somewhere on Amira, one of our team members, made a wonderful sort of grid chart categorizing the types of decisions and whether it requires input from staff, or if that individual person can just kind of take the lead on that, whether it's making public statements or hiring people. And obviously a lot of those decisions really lie upon the board. And like just a huge like shout out to our board members who have been like really through thick and thin with us, and I'm so thankful that they've really been able to stick with us and stick with the work. And one board member doesn't even live in St. Louis anymore, and so we're just so I can't say enough how much we totally appreciate their trusting of us. So that's all. If anybody else wants to add.
Just one more thing. Throughout the process, something that is very important through us is the moral compass. Ultimately, the decision has to fit our values and principles as an organization. If a decision is found to be racist, if a decision is found to be phobic of the LGBTQIA plus community, etc., 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 that's a community, that's an option, that's a decision that we cannot take or that we have to move out of. So just to say that it is understood that this process works also through the filter of our values and principles, which guide us also through the process.
I was wondering if we can know who's on the expert committee, or there's a confidentiality about that. Is it open to new members? How will you go about recruiting, or opening it up, I guess, to potential leaders?
Thank you. That's a great question. We have talked a lot as a team of who are we defining, or how are we defining expert, and who is most directly impacted by these issues. So our initial outreach was to undocumented folks, to asylum seekers, but we also recognize that racist immigration policies impact other people with temporary status, people who are US citizens, but whose families are not. And so most of the members of the expert committee as of right now are folks who have a very precarious status, but we are open to anyone that has direct experience with our immigration system and brings that expertise as a leader to IFCLA. We have done a lot of outreach through word of mouth. We've also reached out to organizations across the state who work with asylum seekers or undocumented immigrants. And so we do have enough funding to recruit more. So if you do know anybody who you think would be good for this expert committee, please let me know, or give them my information and they can reach out to me themselves. And I'd be happy to have a conversation and invite them to our next meeting.
Okay, thanks.
And if I didn't get all the questions, I was trying to, but.
Well, I guess, is there anything printed, or I've been taking notes, but like if I wanted to suggest to some people affected directly by the racism against migrants without proper documentation or whatever, should I just say contact Gabby, or here's how I understand it, or will you have something printed up?
Yes, I have an invitation letter, so I will go ahead and send that to you, and on that letter it has my my contact information, and so they can reach out to me whatever way is easiest for them if they are interested in it based on the letter. And if anybody else would like that letter, I am happy to email it to you. So you can put that in the chat if you know anybody else.
Yeah. So I'm also just curious, have compas who you've helped during, or that have been involved in the accompaniment program, have they been made aware of the possibility to get involved?
Yes, so
okay, cool.
Actually most of the people that maybe not everyone we've accompanied, or not everyone who hasn't been involved in all of our programs, but definitely the people that are on it are people that are involved in Migrantes Unidos, people that are involved in the policy coalition, people that have been involved in some type of our work in one way or another. But of course, we may not have reached everyone. So if you know someone who's been a part of our work and we haven't reached out to yet, let me know.
Thanks.
Thank you, Karen.
just in case anyone is interested in reading the book that we have all studied in the last semester in order to establish horizontal structure, please check on the chat. We've been trying to apply the principles in the book called Emergent Strategies by Adrienne Maree Brown.
Okay, cool. Another question I had, I don't mean to dominate, but was just what has been the executive board's reaction? You addressed this a little bit. It sounds like they've been very supportive, but to the changes that, in structure, and are you worried about it affecting funds by in any way, like you know, depletion or whatever decrease in funding with the structural changes?
Sure. Leo, would you want me to start?
Yeah, please, and then I'll step in too.
Okay, great. So Ellen here. Actually, this is in some ways a return to what IFCLA was structured like for most of the time that it existed, except the program coordinator was one, and now we have more than 5 people. So I think we're returning somewhat to the horizontal structures of years past. I don't think it's gonna, I mean, I think the staff would be better positioned to react, to talk about funders. I think we've had positive reactions. Once the funders understand the reasoning, it is very forward thinking. The other thing I'd say is, as we searched for an executive director last year, staff held all of these pieces together, and a lot of the success, most of the success from last year is because of their very strong leadership in all of their areas. And so I think that has been recognized by funders, and I don't anticipate that we'll have problems getting funds from future, you know, organizations. Leo?
Yeah, honestly, I think when we first ran into this, I want to kind of first point out, you know, thank you so much for the staff for bringing this idea to light, because I know it's a tough conversation, especially when you're going through a transition and you think you had it figured out, and then only to fall apart, and trying to pick those pieces up together, it's hard, right? And trying to do that in a timely manner to keep the trust of the founders, keep the trust of the grant providers, and keep the trust of the community. And honestly, I'm glad that they came up with this approach and this idea to get creative and move forward, honestly, in a progressive way, in my opinion. I know so I usually work in a for-profit environment, and one of the leadership styles that is very new to the industry, that is up and coming, is that type of horizontal structure, especially for younger companies. And that also comes to, like, I don't know if many of you know about Brene Brown. She has some really good books talking about leadership styles. And one of the leadership styles is leading from the heart, right? And not having that type A type of personality, which I'm glad to say that we do not have any of that in our structure or within our staff. But that kind of goes to show you that this type of structure goes into that type of leadership, right? Where everybody's leading from the heart, everybody's leading with the values in mind, the mission in mind. And because of that, in the conversations we've had with the staff, I think the board has felt comfortable agreeing with them and approving this path forward. And we've also had conversations. I've actually had conversations with funders myself, kind of one-on-ones on my own, and they have brought up that question and concern of, like, what does this mean? You know, is like, you know, this is going out of normal type of standards. So obviously it's something that's different, is concerning in most instances, especially when you're providing thousands of dollars to a nonprofit. But luckily, they've had conversations with the staff, they had conversations with us, and they understand the shift that we're trying to take here and how it could benefit with the work we do. So I honestly, I don't have concerns at all. The only thing is, I know we'll probably have to have a little bit more conversation about it with other people, but I'm more than happy to kind of explore that and navigate that as we kind of evolve. So I definitely think it's a good path forward. it is different, but it's definitely in a good way.
Thank you. Any other questions?
I also want to mention that we are also recruiting board members as well. So if you know anyone, Karen, or you know, if you would like, if you're interested, please let us know.
And if there are no more questions, I would ask if you are here and you want to be a part of a picture, to go ahead and turn your camera on, or if your camera is on, to smile, because I believe Amelie will be taking a picture. So yes, if you're here and you would like to be in a picture and you consent to being in a picture, please go ahead and turn your camera on and smile.
Okay, I'm seeing lots of beautiful faces, so I'm gonna count us down. 3, 2, 1. And one more. 3, 2, 1. Perfect. Thank you, everybody.
What a good looking group. Okay. Well, I think that's all for tonight. Again, if any questions come up.
I think I
yes,
have the closing word, right?
yes, you do.
Okay,
So
sorry.
thank you,
I
Ellen.
didn't want people to jump off yet. Did I cut you off, Gabby? Did you have anything else?
No, thank you for reminding me.
Okay, okay. So just wanted to close us out here and thank everyone again for joining tonight. Just by your presence, it shows you care about IFCLA and that you're supporting us with your time tonight. So we appreciate that for sure. We really encourage you to get the word out about us. There's a lot of work to do. We all know that. We have an incredible staff, really dedicated people, and the community has responded. And we are really thankful that we're continuing on to do this important work. In addition to our funders, our sustainers, I also want to call out Justice and Peace Shares that also contribute their monthly donation to IFCLA. I also would encourage anyone who has not become a sustainer. I don't know about you, but in my other monthly giving, it's the best thing I've done for myself because I don't have to worry about a check sending in. I don't have to think about renewing it because I know I'm supporting the things that I want to support. So that's certainly something we would encourage. It also helps us to kind of plan out as we try to grow away from all grant funding to have more diverse funding through individual giving or donations. So if you're able to be a donor, a one-year annual donation is awesome, but we'd also encourage you to consider being a sustainer. As Juan mentioned, we are looking for to increase our board. So IFCLA has gone through lots of changes in the past few years, and we would love to have a diversity expansion of the board. It could be people all over Missouri. Actually, we do all of our board meetings right now via Zoom. And so we encourage you to please consider joining our efforts, and we can give you more information about that. And lastly, we have a wonderful Adelante newsletter that goes out every month, and we'd love for you to get that, that you will be in touch with what IFCLA is doing and all the exciting work. So please consider those options, and we will have an email. I believe Carly is going to send an email with all this tomorrow to you. So if you are already getting our emails, great, look for that. Share our information with your friends, and hopefully we'll see you at some of the upcoming events. Encourage you for Give STL, but also at Loteria, which will be another exciting, fun time. So thank you all for your support and for your time tonight.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Gracias. Thank you,
Thank you
everyone.
for the interpreters. Thank you so
you.
much.
Yeah,
Thank you,
gracias.
interpreters.
Muchas gracias. Buenas noches.
Buenas noches.